Me is Queen Room, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So as you can see, today I decided to adorn my third eye area. When we used to do festivals and pagan ceremonies in Philadelphia, we would always adorn our hair and our eyes and our faces with these. And the whole purpose is adorning the area of your third eye. A lot of different cultures use it, especially like the Indian culture, certain aspects of that culture. You'll see this very common. We would put them all over our face and our eyes and put them all over. So I found some and I was like, ooh, I love these. So I wanted to try them on. So let's talk about something that somebody asked me. I got a message, and a woman said that she's Aquarius, and she was wondering why people always accuse Aquarius of being delusional. She's like, people always say that to me, and she's like, I'm, pretty logical. I'm not delusional, so why do people keep asking me or mentioning to me, this energy of being delusional? And let's first start off with a really good working definition to really get into this. Delusional is characterized by or holding idiosyncratic beliefs or impressions that are contradicted by reality or rational argument, typically as a symptom of mental disorder. So why are Aquarius accused or, given this label at times? Well, first of all, based on this definition, anybody can have this delusional disorder. Any sun sign, obviously. That's number one. So there are going to be people of every sun sign who are delusional. So definitely you're going to come across Aquarius and Pisces and Taurus and everything else that may be fit into this definition. But why is Aquarius specifically accused of this at times? I have a theory. The first thing is that because some Aquarius probably are delusional. Some of us, like when you come across some Aquarius, they have more Uranus than Saturn. It's always good to have a balance of Uranus and Saturn. But some of us have too much Uranus or too much Saturn, and it doesn't go over very well. When you have too much Uranus, you're too flighty, you're too unpredictable, you're too irresponsible, some people will call them. It's just too much, They're always off in the stratosphere. Aquarius is already an air sign. So if this person in this particular situation has too much of that Uranus going on, then they're floating out there in the stratosphere. They are literally up there with the constellation of Aquarius. They're always floating around. They don't really have any responsibility either. They usually live off of someone or with someone, and they're just totally irresponsible, and they're just out there floating around. And some of them are really fucking brilliant, which is the crazy part. They're really brilliant, but they just have no understanding of how to be on this planet. And those people have too much of that Uranus going on in their chart. Now, other ones, Aquarius, who have too much water. Sometimes an Aquarius has too much water, either a water moon, water rising, or water someplace in their chart. And if they're not able to handle it, because water is difficult for Aquarius to handle, so if they have too much and they can't handle it, then they may become delusional, because what they're doing is creating illusions to be able to feel comfortable in their life. A lot of times, one of the things that you see with water is illusions, especially with Pisces. You see a lot of illusions. So if an Aquarius has a lot of water going on, they may start to have all these illusions, and sometimes they're creating the illusions for other people, like a magician's smoke and mirrors, and other times they're believing their own illusions, which leads them to be delusional. Of course, this can happen with any sun sign, like I said before, but I've seen this a lot with Aquarius who have too much water going on. So this happens to certain people. So when Aquarius are accused of being delusional, I automatically assume it's because they've come across an Aquarius who had too much Uranus or an Aquarius who had too much water and couldn't handle the water. So that's what I assume, Just that's just my theory about it because that's what makes sense to me. Another thing that I would say about this too is that think about this definition. It says that the person's belief and impressions are contradicted by reality and rational thought. Well, whose reality? Whose rational thoughts? Because one thing that I've noticed is that Aquarius have a lot of futuristic ideas. So a lot of the ideas that we come up, a lot of these beliefs or impressions would be beliefs or impressions that haven't been proven yet. So a lot of things that Aquarius say may sound crazy, but they're probably spot on. They're probably spot on. Some of them just haven't been proven yet. They're futuristic ideas. How can you say something isn't proven in the present that's not for the present, it's for the future? You see? So I think that some of these beliefs and impressions will be proven later. The problem is that if you're talking to a Taurus, if you're talking to a Capricorn, and you're saying, oh, these are my beliefs and my impressions, and they're not current reality, they're not going to be able to hear you. What you're saying to them is going to sound crazy, even though it may be perfect knowledge in 10, 15, 20 years. So I think that's another piece of it. And then it says rational argument. Aquarius are logical as all get out. So if somebody's coming at us and they don't think our argument is rational, again, it could be because they're talking to somebody who has a lot of illusions going on. But typically, I would say this is not us at all. So yeah, you're going to come across a lot of those types. You're going to come across those types, but this is not true of our entire sun sign. Typically because of the fact, number one, a lot of us are extremely logical, and number two, a lot of us don't have a lot of water. I don't have any. I have one placement in water. I forgot where it's at, but it's just one in my whole chart. So water is not really something that a lot of us, if we're lucky, have a lot of. I guess it can be lucky and it can be unlucky. The lucky part about having water is that if you're able to deal with your emotions, if you're able to become emotionally intelligent, having a lot of water can be good. It can make you more compassionate to other people, more merciful, more open-hearted. A therapist or something like that. That's good to have with a lot of water. But if you can't handle the water, then this is where the illusions come in. And then you're either constantly, snow jobbing people, giving people illusions and making them think these crazy things that you've come up with, or you're constantly deluding yourself because you can't deal with your reality. So it just depends on what direction it goes in. That's why I always break things down as positive and negative, because that's a big part. If it's a negative, it's a big part, and if it's a positive, it's a big part. So it depends on how a person deals with something like that. So that's why we are accused of being delusional. Also, remember, the Aquarius is very eccentric. So anybody who's eccentric, anybody who, does things that everybody else doesn't do, Aquarius doesn't follow that. If everybody is doing something, a lot of people will continue to do that something. They've done social experiments where people will be in a room doing something crazy or something unusual or something that just isn't right. And everybody who came into the room would notice what they were doing, would kind of look, and would get right in line with doing it too. That's not Aquarius. Aquarius will come into the room and be like, what is y'all doing? Like, I'm not doing that. That's the Aquarius who is, self-esteem is high. They understand their self-worth. They're going to come in the room and be like, Twilight zoning in here, I'm out of here, man. And they're not going to go along with the norm. They're not going to go along with the status quo. They're not going to conform just to get along unless we really have to, when we have to. Like, I'll play ball when I have to go to work. When I have to go to work, I may not like what goes on at work, but I need my paper. I got bills to pay. I like to eat every day. So even if something pops that it depends on what it is. I'll try my damnedest to leave it alone if I possibly can. But as an Aquarius, sometimes that's not possible. So yeah, that's why Aquarius are accused of being delusional. I think a lot of it is just stereotypical jargon, and then sometimes you run across those types I mentioned, and it is what it is. So there it is. Now it's time for me to get going. So if you would like to send me a love donation, I will leave my PayPal. If you would like to get in contact with me to schedule a tarot or oracle card reading, I will also leave my email. You could email me for an appointment. If you would like to hit me up on social media, I'll leave my Facebook and I'll leave my Instagram. And you can also email me if you want an answer to a free general question. Or you can just leave it underneath this video. So please give this video a thumbs up and pass it on to anyone else that you know who's Aquarius, who's been accused of being delusional. Aquarius, some of the times it's a true statement, and other times it's just somebody who just doesn't understand your futuristic version of reality. It's okay, Aquarius. They'll catch up. Give them like 5 years. See you later.